Hello everyone, in this video we are going to see about the absolute and relative reference in MS Excel. So actually we can refer to the cells for any process of information or the data calculation. So for that we have to refer the cells. Those cells reference may be either absolute reference or relative reference. Let us know first of all what is meant by cell reference. Cell reference is the address or name of a cell or range of cells. In order to access the data from the cells, we have to refer the cell, and that is done by the address of the cell. We already have seen that how to name the cell. So the cell are named by the row and the column number. Row letter, the column letter and the row number. And we can also refer to a group of cells called the range of cells. It is the combination of column name and row number. There are two types of cell references, relative and absolute. Relative and absolute references behave differently when copied and filled to other cells. So normally when you are doing the process, we just you type the formula in one cell and copy down the value to the many cells. The formulas will be copied in a different way where the formulas are substituted for all the cells we are dragging. Relative references change when a formula is copied to another cell. Absolute references, on the other hand, remain constant no matter where they are copied. So when you copy the formula from one cell to the other cell, in the case of relative references, the formula varies based upon the formula, the data in the formula or the operand in the formula or the cell values in the formula changes, the cell address changes. Okay, so that is not the case in the absolute references. In the absolute references, wherever you copy the formula, only the values remain as a constant. Let us see with the example how we can do the relative and the absolute reference. First we shall see about the relative reference. So here relative reference is the default cell reference in Excel. It is simply the combination of column name and row number without any dollar sign. So if you wanted to make this address as the relative reference, we are not using any dollar symbol before the cell address. Otherwise, if it is absolute, we always present a dollar symbol in front of the cell name or the cell address. You can see here, this is an Excel sheet having the marks of a student, marks 1 and marks 2 and the total marks, and we can see here we are finding the total mark by adding the mark of each student from column A and column B. And how it is done, total marks, under the total marks column it is given the formula in the cell C2, Cth column, second row C2, it is given as equal to B2 A2 plus B2, that is the addition of two cells gives the total mark of a particular student. Suppose if you want to find out the total for all the students, we have to click down the arrow. Let us see how it is done. So how to use the relative reference. Step 1, we write the formula in any cell and press enter so that it is calculated. In this example, we write the formula is equal to B2 plus A2 in cell C2 and press enter to calculate the formula. So what does it do? The sum of A and B value is added and put in the column C in the second row. Okay, so that is the number 2. Now step 2, now click on the fill handle at the corner of the cell which contains the formula C2. So now we can see in the cell C2 it is actually selected. So it is only like a rectangle is shown there to show it is selected, and the corner at the lower right corner of the cell we are seeing a small square. Okay, that is a dark small square is there, that is called fill handle. If you click on the fill handle, automatically the total will be calculated for all the cells down the column. Let us see how it is happening. So now the step 3 is drag the fill handle up to the cells you want to fill. In our example, we will drag it cell C10. Now we can see that the addition operation is performed between the cell A2, B2, A3 and B3 and so on. Let us see the result here. Now the fill handle is clicked down and dragged. dragged till C10, because till C10 10th row only we have the values for A and B. Okay, so now we first, the formula is given first of all to add the values from A2 and B2 to copy into C2. Now when you click on the fill handle and drag down, automatically for C3 A3 and B3 are added, for C4 A4 and B4, for C5 A5 and B5, likewise for C10 A10 and B10 are added. So this fill handle helps to fill and copy the formulas down the column. It can be either down the column or across the row we can fill the formulas. So this is the example of the relative reference. The reference actually it goes. Okay, now let us see about the absolute reference. I have seen that in order to say that the absolute reference in a cell reference, we are using the dollar sign before the column name and the row number. So how it is referred? The absolute reference does not change as you copy the formula from one cell to another. This is fixed actually. Let us see how to use the absolute reference step by step. Step 1, we write the formula in any cell and press enter so that it is calculated. In this example, we write the formula as A2 is equal to A2 plus B2 into $C$2. What does it mean is C2 is the cell which carries the absolute reference value, and this is put in D2. Now if you press enter, we get the calculated the formula. Let us see how it is happening in the picture. Now as we have done in the previous example, we have just used only the formula up to A2 plus B2. Now you are adding one more term to show the absolute reference as the absolute of C plus C2. So $C$2 is the absolute reference. Okay. Now what you do is we are calculating this in as a percentage like. So what you are doing, multiplying this as a 20% value C2. So C2 is the cell which contains the percentage of 20. Okay, so in D2 the formula is given as equal to A2 plus B2 into C2. What does it mean? It means the sum from the sum of A2 plus B2, the 20% is calculated. That is the total mark of the student. Now as we have done earlier, we have to click the fill handle and we have to drag it down till C10. Let us see how it is happening. So step 2, now click on the fill handle at the corner of the cell which contains the formula D2. So now as we have seen in the previous slides, the same way here the fill handle appears and you click on the fill handle and now you see how the formula changes. Drag and fill the handle up to the cells you want to fill. In our example, we will drag it till D10. Okay. Now you see what is happening here. Now the formula is calculated as A2, because the C2 is constant value. It is just multiplied to the total. Okay. So now how the formula is copied is C2, we can see up is equal to A2 plus B2 into C2 $C$2. Likewise, with all the addition of A2, B2 like C2, like A2, B2 like A3, B3, A4, B4 and etc. up to A10, B10, the A values are the relative reference which has no dollar symbol. So the value changes when you drag down the rows. But in the case of the value, the constant value C2, which is the absolute value which is denoted by $C$2, that value is constant for all the calculation. So for the total calculation, it is the meaning of this formula is for all the percentages, for all the total 20% is calculated. The 20 is fixed. Okay. So now this is how the formulas look like in the case of the absolute reference. So now step 4, now we can see that the percentage is calculated in the column D, and now this is how the reference. Now when the fill handle is dragged down, you see the difference between the previous and the now the current slide. Now the formula is now changed to A10 plus B10, because we are in the last, the cursor is in the last column which is D10 here. Okay. Now how D10 is got? D10 is got by adding A10 and B10. but you can see that now A has changed from 2 to 10 and B also has changed from 2 to 10 because they are in the relative reference. They are relative to each other. But the formula, in the formula, $C, $2 is constant. So it is not changing the value. It is always $C, $2. It is not changing as C3, C4 or C5. It is just the fixed value $C, $2. So this is how the absolute reference is used in the any formula in Excel. So you can double click on any cell to check that the operation is performed in between the which cells, and we see that the address of the cell C2 does not change because it is an absolute value. So you can see now, for example, they have shown the 6th row. The formula now changes to equal to A6 plus B6, but the C2 is constant because the absolute. Okay, so absolute always prefixes the dollar symbol. So wherever you just check in any of this column the formula, the A and the B will be changing, but C will not change because A and B are relative reference and C is the absolute reference. So this is how the formulas are calculated using the absolute reference and the relative reference. Hope it is simple and easy to follow, and thanks for watching.